Hi, I'm Stuart from the Norfolk Honey Company and welcome back to another of our MAISEMORE apiaries sponsored videos for 2017. Today we're back at our regular apiary, and you'll recall that we split the Bailey comb exchange colony here, and we've come back to take a look at that and see how they're progressing 1 week on. I've also discovered that we've had more damage from what I think is rabbits. This area has a fairly large rabbit population, and we're going to take a look at the polyhives that we've not yet used and just show you the damage that's been caused to them, and that's resulted in having to make a decision about the location of where we're keeping all of the polyhives. And what I'm going to do is to move some of the polyhives that have not yet had bees put in them, and we're going to set up another apiary at another location where, as far as I can tell, there are very few rabbits, and hopefully that's going to prevent that problem from increasing. But it's one of those things that I hadn't accounted for when we set up the apiary here, that the local population would take such an interest in our polyhives. If this is your first time with us, then you're very welcome. The MAISEMORE apiaries guys have supplied us with a range of equipment, including the commercial polyhives, and I'll put all of the information to links to the products in the description below, and take a look at some of the earlier videos from the point at which we met up with Jonathan and the team at the BBKA Spring Convention trade show, all the way through to us in our present situation where we've now got colonies set up. If you've not yet subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It would be great to have you along. And we've also got our usual social media feeds, but probably the more important of those is the Facebook group, which is Stuart's Beekeeping Basics, where we've got a really great group of people that are now helping each other out with lots of questions that both beginners and the more advanced beekeeper would like to have answered. So take a look at that if you get a minute. So we've got the smoker lit, so let's head over and take a look at the damage to the hives that we've got here first, and then we'll go and take a look at the two colonies that we've now got from the split of the Bailey comb exchange. So we've got our polyhives on the pallet here, but what's happened is looks like the rabbits have been able to reach up. How they've got onto these I don't know, but this one was on the base of the pallet, and you can see where they've really been chewing into the polystyrene quite vigorously all the way round. I'm pretty certain that it's the rabbits that are doing this. So what we're going to have to do is to physically take them apart again, get this painted so that we can make sure that it's protected, but then we're going to have to move them away from this location. It would be easy just to put a bit of paint on and leave them here, but I think they're going to be quite vulnerable, and we either have to protect them by using maybe some wire netting, some chicken wire, something like that, or move them away, and I've decided that we're going to move them to another location, or at least some of them to another location. Interestingly, since I guess the rabbits have tried chewing them and decided that they're not very tasty, they seem to have stopped chewing them now, and this damage hasn't increased over the last few days or week or so. So it might be that they've tried them, they don't like them, and now they've left them alone. But the colonies, the hives that we've not yet populated with bees, we're going to move away, but we have got several already set up here. So you can see just how much damage the hives have taken, which is a real shame because we worked really hard to get them painted up. But once we get them repainted, I'm sure that they'll be fine and we'll move them away. It's possible that some of this could be bird damage, but looking at the marks on it, I think that it's rabbits. So that's the bad news, but it's not beyond repair. We can repaint them and sort them out, and I'm sure they'll be fine. So we're going to get our hoods up and go over and take a look at the Bailey comb change colony that we split. And you'll remember, and for those of you that haven't yet seen it, we had a colony on a double brood box with a queen excluder in between the two brood boxes, and when we inspected them the last time round, we found the original queen, but also what appeared to be a virgin queen in the bottom box. So I split the colony so that we then had two separate brood boxes, one with the old queen and all of the brood, and then one with the new queen and all of the flying bees. And so hopefully they've settled down, and we're going to take a look at them now just to make sure that everything's fine. Just to recap, this is a MAISEMORE apiaries poly commercial hive. They come complete with the strap, so this was supplied to us with the complete hive. One of the tips that I was given was to not actually undo the strap completely, but just loosen it, and then we're going to pop that underneath the hive so it doesn't become a trip hazard. So what we've got here is the feeder. We've not used that feeder yet, but we're keeping it with the hive just for safekeeping. This is the mesh floor bottom board, so the Varroa board that we'll use when we want to check to see if they have any Varroa, and also the queen excluder, which we're not using at the moment. And then we have the cover board, which is a little sheet of polycarbonate. So one of the things that that I haven't done as yet, that we'll do now, is that the sheet, which is the cover board, comes with this peel off protective layer, so we can take that off and then actually we can see what's going on inside. It's not something that I've thought of doing before, but that will hopefully give us a better opportunity of seeing what's happening inside. So this is the original queen, and she has the drawn frames and also a couple of extra frames of sealed brood. So I'm just going to have a quick look to make sure that they're okay. All of the flying bees will have gone back to the original colony. They seem fine, they're nice and calm. All of these frames have been pretty well drawn, and here you can see the bees are fairly calm, nice and still on the comb. A nice frame of capped brood there, waiting for that to emerge. And there's the queen, the original queen, just at the bottom of the frame. It's always nice to catch a glimpse of the queen, and so much easier to see her when she's marked. So just checking this, I can see eggs in the bottom of the cells, so she's quite happy and she's laying really well. So we'll pop her back in. And again, this frame is full of eggs, and on this side we've got brood, just very young larvae and also eggs as well. One of the consequences of having a cover board that sits on top of the frames is that occasionally we get bees that have been killed. So we're just going to have to be careful at the moment until I can work out a way of creating a frame to go on them, but I think that's going to be a job for the autumn and winter. And again, this frame, lots of sealed brood. On this side you can see that the bees are emerging, and in fact we've got one bee here, a worker, that's now eating her way out of the cell, just removing the cap, and she'll emerge within the next 20 minutes or so, I would think. But they're really calm. They look really well. They look healthy, and they are now, of course, the equivalent of a nucleus colony because they've lost the majority of their bees. But a lot of these bees will now orientate themselves to the new position and become foragers. They've got plenty of food stores. And so that's as far as we need to go with checking them. So we'll close them up. And having removed the covering on the polycarbonate cover, you can now see, as I put it on, the bees beneath. And the problem when I put it on is that it does trap bees on top of the frames, so we need to just try and get them away from the frame. So I'm going to use a little smoke just underneath the cover board. And there we've managed to get them all beneath the cover board without trapping any onto the top of the frames. So we'll put the roof back on this colony, and we'll go and take a look at the colony that had the virgin queen in it. Again, the same with this one. We need to remove the covering from the polycarbonate cover board, and then we can see what's going on beneath. And you'll notice immediately that there are a lot more bees in this colony, because this will have received all of the flying bees from the combination of the two colonies. So we've already got lots more bees in here, and we'll just take a look to see whether the queen has started laying. We may well be a week early, but we'll take a look and see. So that frame is all stores. Again, another frame of stores. One or two bees unfortunately got trapped, but hopefully now that I've removed the cover to the protective sheet to the cover board, we'll be able to be a bit more careful about trapping bees. And we've got a flow on still. The blackberries and trees, various trees around here are in full flower at the moment, so that's all good news. And this frame again is full of stores. Another frame of stores. And with no brood to look after, the bees are out and foraging and just packing all of the frames full of stores, so it's not a surprise to see lots of stores in here. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make is to presume just because there's no eggs and larvae immediately after we've discovered that queen, is to try and replace her because you think that something must have happened to her. But we're going to make sure that we give her several weeks to get out and get mated and to come back and start laying. So we're not going to rush in to replacing any queen in this colony until we're certain that something has gone wrong, or that maybe potentially she's not laying, or that she's died, maybe taken by a bird when she was out on a mating flight. So she's not visible in here at the moment, so we're going to leave them. I think we'll leave this colony for a fortnight now, so we'll leave them for 2 weeks and check. And remember, we are also producing queens at our queen rearing apiary, so if anything has occurred to the queen in this colony, then we can always use another queen from our queen rearing. So no sign of eggs, there's no sign that they're preparing for a laying queen, there's no gaps in any of the frames. So we're going to give it a fortnight and then we'll come back and have another look. So that's the inspections finished. Obviously we'd like to see a laying queen in the second colony that we looked at as soon as possible, but we'll give her a couple of weeks and see how things transpire. But there's plenty of bees in there, there's no reason why they shouldn't accept her, so we'll catch up when we take a look at them again in a fortnight. The other colony is now a fairly large nucleus sized colony, and they'll continue to expand and grow, and hopefully by the time we get through to the end of the season there'll be a nice large colony ready to overwinter and be ready for the spring next year. I hope you enjoyed that. My thanks again to MAISEMORE Apiaries for their help in producing these videos, and we'll catch up next time. Thanks for watching.